very young audience for me. Very, very young. How many of you are students? How many of you are looking into get employment in an end-user organization that uses technology? I know you want employment, okay? But how many of you will want to actually develop new technology instead and get a job into providing technology for the future? Can I have a show of hands? Ooh, way less. You see, I'm a bit of a dinosaur. When I went to college, there was no computer science. And yes, I mean, I would jump on sort of opportunities for employment anyway, but I really wanted to go and work for people who provided the technology and all the cool stuff that people would use. But I see here is completely different. I have to say, guys, you're very wise, because it's a very, very competitive world out there. How many of you know about Gartner? A few. Okay. Well, what we do is that we don't sell any technology. Okay? There is a market of people who develop technology, products and services around technology, and they sell it to the users of technology, the people you want to work for. Okay? And these people are going to go and select whatever products or services that are on the market that fits the problem that they have to solve. Okay? Now, we don't develop technology, we don't use technology, we just give advice to the users about which technology is best for them. The providers of technology, because they know we give all of this advice to the users, they come to us as clients too, to understand what is best to develop for tomorrow. So in short, the job of people like me is to try to predict what is going to happen in the technology world. And the better those predictions are, the more successful we are as a company, because the more successful are our clients. So if we get predictions right, everybody is nice to us, because the users know they know that we know what's coming, so they know they can talk to us. The technology providers can talk to us because they know that if they ask us for an opinion on where a specific trend is going, we tend to get it right, so they can make their plans accordingly. That's what we do. So we're in the middle of the technology industry, okay? Obviously, we have to get it right. If we get it wrong, there's plenty of millions of investments that get wasted, and then people are not nice to us anymore. You know, I wouldn't stand here if I didn't get them right. As a matter of fact, you know, I will lose my job if I get things wrong. So Niels Bohr, Danish particle scientist, used to say that predictions are very, very difficult because they are about the future. And that's what we do. We do predictions, and we make them structured, okay? And we have to get them right. Now, if I ask to any of you, simple questions, right? I'm very confused by all of these presentations on cloud. I have to confess it to you. Very confused. Because if I listen to all these presentations on cloud, I don't know what the difference is between cloud and internet. If I ask to any of you, how many of you would be comfortable, okay, in sitting down for a cup of coffee with a friend and explaining to the friend what the difference is between cloud and internet? How many of you will be able to do that? I'm not going to ask you, okay? So don't worry, I'm not going to pick on you. That's why we need somebody that says what cloud is and what cloud is not. Okay? That's exactly why. Because things get muddled. And that's our role in the industry, is to say, fine, so what do you really want? Why do you want to call it that way? Okay? Now, in your future life, you will say, picture yourselves in 5 years from now. You will have a respectable job that I sincerely wish you will like, possibly not in this country, because there's not going to be many, but you will go to work every morning, and in the morning, you will take out your nice device. No advertisement here, okay? But you will take out this device, and you will start working in the bus, queuing up. In your car, actually, this device will be on a dashboard, but will have the same capabilities, okay? You won't use a keyboard, okay? If you are in the train, you might use some of this that is a bit blown up. At the bottom of my emails, it says, sent from my giant iPod when I use my iPad. Okay? And you will start working then. This is completely different from the way people work today. Will you be using the cloud? No, you won't. You will be using some connectivity to some application somewhere. Okay? You won't be a cloud user. The cloud will be there in the background for you. You need to connect to it. Okay? What is the cloud? Everybody is worried about it. Everybody is interested in it. But you can see here, the main interest is by people and individuals. Even old people like me, okay, talk about the cloud a lot. Well, I want to keep an eye on what my boy does on Facebook. That's one of my main usage of the cloud, okay? So I said, you go on Facebook only if I'm your friend. But individuals, typically, even if they are old like me, they tend to be very, very cloud aware. They might not know what cloud is. They might not be able to call it apart from the internet. But they're interested. My point in this presentation is that in the real world, 98% of all cloud providers, make it technology and services, are in the US, okay? This island is geographically between Europe and the US, and possibly much closer to the US than geography says, okay? But it's still part of Europe. We will still have privacy concerns. Lots of companies have privacy concerns. Some of them justified, some of them not. But I get bombarded in my job every day by people who say, oh yes, cloud will be everywhere. All the applications will go to the cloud. All of them. And they won't. Certainly not before I retire. Okay? By the time I'm going to be 65, I still believe I will be in this job. That's going to be 10 years from now. Okay? So I think that somebody needs to stand up and say, yes, cloud is going to happen. Yes, cloud is all good things for many people, okay? Providers and users of cloud. But some things will take a long time to get to the cloud. Okay, long time. And especially here in Europe, because I think here in Europe, we think about the cloud in a different way. A friend of mine, he lives in Los Angeles. She was she put on her Facebook page she was looking for a bag from an Italian designer. In the space of about 2 or 3 days, she was contacted by 2 or 3 retailers who would sell that bag and gave her deals on the bag. She was delighted. She finally could get the bag she was after, right? At a good price. My wife, she's Irish, okay? My wife she uses Google Mail. She wrote in an email to some of her friends she was looking for a bag. The day after, you know, if you use Google Mail, you type here and you have some advertisement here. In the advertisement, offers for that bag came up. And she said, what's going on here? Somebody's reading my mails. She didn't care whether that bag will come to her at a better price. The first reaction was, hold on, there's something wrong here. Somebody's watching me. Okay? Ireland is the country in Europe that has the most liberal privacy policy. But there are things like this that will make Europeans adopt cloud slower. And I will tag this in my presentation with this little European flag. Okay? This is what we think cloud is. Look at that circle in the middle. That's what we think it is IT services delivered through the internet. And these IT services have to be scalable, they have to be metered, and they have to be shared. That's what cloud is. So the difference between cloud and internet is that the cloud works over the internet is not the cloud. Okay? Now, scalable. What does that mean? It means that whether I was talking to a provider the other day, and they said that on St. Stephen's Day, their peak usage of people signing up for games is about 156 times as high as the peak time at any other day in the year. Okay? Scalable means that you can have an assumption of infinite power there, and you can scale back and pay for only to the power that you need immediately after. That's what scalability is. So it has to be scalable to be cloud. It's not scalable, it's not cloud. Cloud is not new. There's very little new in cloud. We talked about software as a service for a decade already. We talked about virtualization for more or less as much. We talked about outsourcing, data center outsourcing for at least 20 years. Okay? And in IT, we always have this thing that we just rename things, and then we think they're all new, but they're not. Okay? I see this all the time, believe me. You know, I don't see much gray hair, you know, in this audience, or lack of hair in my case. But I've been through this many times. What do people want to get out of cloud? Mainly the things that you see on the left side of this picture. They want to get agility, the ability to do things very, very quickly. Okay? They want to save cost. Not always. It is proven that if you use a software as a service application for more than 7 years, the cost that you pay is probably higher than the cost you would have paid if you kept that application on site, on premise. Now, this is cost only. Obviously, on software as a service, you get many more upgrades you wouldn't have got if you had your own software. But purely on a cost basis, cloud doesn't always save you money. Okay? You might want less complexity. These are all good benefits. Obviously, there are drawbacks that you see on the other side of the slide, on the right side of the slide. You lose control. You don't have your server under your desk that you feel comfortable with. Servers are power. Machine power is power. And when you will start working, you will see that people will hold on to as much power as they want. Cloud scares people in IT because it takes power off them. And a lot of the resistance to cloud that I see around companies today is related to the fact that people are scared of losing their jobs. Here in Europe in particular, security, transparency, where is my data going? Is it safe? Is it personal data? Am I violating any of the European policies? All of that will be very, very important. Very, very important, and it's slowing down the adoption of cloud. Also, when you have applications in the cloud, you will still have those applications, to get those applications working with the applications you have on premise. Not easy. They work in a completely different way. And you have no control of what happens in the cloud. These people might change their APIs without telling you, okay? Is there anybody here who never heard about Snowden? Right, he said what he said. We can take our own position, towards what he said. A lot of reaction, and this is a classical knee-jerk reaction, a lot of reaction in companies here has been, well, then you see putting things in the cloud is unsafe. Okay? Well, it's a sentiment. Okay? I have to say most of the people who say that in the corporate world, they use that as an excuse. I don't think they mean it. I think they mean to protect their own investments, possibly their own careers. I don't think they mean that. Snowden mainly exposed faults in systems that were not in the cloud. Okay? So cloud and Snowden are two different things. Yes, one thing we say to our clients is, yes, go to the cloud, start experimenting to the cloud, start using software as a service applications, look at where your data goes, make sure it goes somewhere you're comfortable with, encrypt your data if you need to. Nothing wrong with that. Why are we so worried about the data being looked at by evil Americans, if we can encrypt it? What's wrong in encrypting them? There are very simple solutions to problems that people feel are in the cloud. One thing that we always recommend our clients is once you go into the cloud, which is the right thing to do, well, make sure that you have an exit strategy. Make sure that, if something goes wrong, you can go back. Don't burn bridges. Because if you do, and something wrong happens, it's not nice. This company, Nirvanix, was one of the sort of prodigy children of cloud. They used to do storage as a service. So you need storage, you go to them, you buy it. They can give you as much as you want, and it costs very little. So they were one of the first on the market. Companies really signed up to them. And they have petabytes of information belonging to, all sorts of companies worldwide. Some of them actually belong to IBM customers. And IBM customers thought that they had a contract with IBM. But everything was expanding. They did big investments. And one stage, completely out of the blue, they said, I'm sorry, we run out of money. We're going out of business. And people say, oh, hey, come on. You're in the cloud. You're supposed to be healthy. Your business model is healthy. And they say, well, we're going out of business. And what they said actually is, you have 1 week of time to take all that you have with us away from us, because in 1 week, we will have to turn everything off. And you can imagine, the kind of consternation that, well, at the end, they went on for about 4 weeks. Also because people have so much stuff with them, is even if they started now, it would take them more than 1 week to take it out. So these things happen. They happen in the cloud, they happen in the business world. People in the cloud make investments before they're due, and in some cases, they don't make them right, okay? So these things happen. So one of the basic pieces of advice we give to our customers is to have an exit strategy. One of the main things that is going to slow down the adoption of clouds here in Europe is the fact that people feel is not secure. We talked about Snowden a little bit. There is a legislation in Europe, which is a directive from the EU, okay? Which means that every member state has to ratify it for the protection of personal data. The trouble is that in different countries, personal data has a different meaning, okay? I was living in Italy before I moved here 2 years ago. My wife was sick of talking to olive trees. So I was looking for a house here. And I went to the internet, and you have all of these beautiful pictures of houses in the sunshine, right? And everything looks great, grand, I should say. And you want to look at those houses the way they really look. The point, if you're sitting in Florence, it's not that simple to look at those houses the way they look. So what do? You take the little man in Google Maps, and you drop it in front of the house. That's the way the house looks, right? On a normal day, when the Google car used to, had a chance to sort of go through that road, you can see a picture of the house. In Ireland, that is perfectly lawful. In Germany, the picture of your house is your personal information. You try that. Go on a residential road on Google Maps. It's all blanked out. So what is considered as personal information changes country by country, and that's what drives Google crazy, okay? That they should pulverize their policies country by country. Now, you will all go home tonight. Hopefully it's been a long day. I appreciate that, okay? And you will be on the bus or somewhere or in the car. Now you can forget about everything I said, everything. You forget my name very quickly. That's okay. I don't mind that. One thing that you should not forget is that cloud is about mass. It's about critical mass. That's what makes cloud possible for the providers of cloud services and for the users of cloud services, with very, very few exceptions, okay? In Europe, we struggle to provide mass because every country is so different from the other. We decide in different ways. We don't even treat the information the same way. So the fact that cloud providers will try to sort of deal with this diversity in some way will make cloud less palatable and less acceptable over here in Europe. Hence, what I'm saying here, the point is, whoever says the cloud is not secure, whoever says the cloud is not secure, I'm afraid is not you just have to do your work properly. You just have to do your work to understand where the data goes. You have to understand where the data goes. That is personal data or not. That is personal data. You have to do your homework on your cloud solutions. You have to do your homework on your cloud solutions, and secure to use the cloud. And secure to use and this inhibitor shouldn't really be there, whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not. several types of clouds, several types of clouds, hybrid clouds, private clouds, public clouds, and all the levels of gray, Obviously, here in Europe, we particularly like the private clouds. They're scared, in the rural
In general, when we give advice to our clients, oh, I need a cloud strategy. Oh, I need a cloud strategy. Would you make one with me?
In most of the cases, we can't.
But these are the main things we want them to look at. So where you should consume services, where is cloud appropriate in your application portfolio? Is it public? Is it private? Is it public? How do you secure it? That's what is very important here in Europe. Does it factor into your main application strategy? What applications will you have? What applications will you evolve? How they're going to evolve? Is there an opportunity for you to actually leverage some of the advantages of cloud? On the left side of my picture. On the left side. People are going to go to cloud in many different ways. Cloud is made up of all of these. Cloud is made up of all of these. Infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service. So raw computing power and storage. Raw computing power and storage. Software as a service applications. Software as a service applications in the cloud. Platform as a service, to develop applications, which is a platform to develop applications that live in the cloud. And business processes as a service. And business processes ways of traversing applications. So that they can get business processes done like a classical order to cash. Now, there's a plethora of offerings. And that's why I say to you that when you want to, just a few of you, when just a few hands turned out to be working in technology, I said we're probably wise. Competition is extremely fierce. Competition is extremely people will do less and less things. People will do less within their own within their own IT infrastructure. So if you want the whole business-to-business environment, business-to-business environment will be different. Security will remain an issue. Remember I said that cloud is about mass. Cloud is about mass. There is only one important exception, which I will get to in a second. Another thing that will slow cloud down is the fact that every time we have to do anything really business to business in Europe it's always more complicated. It's always more complicated. Languages are different. For a good piece of euros, for a good piece of currencies, still. There are currencies, taxation systems, different practices, different business practices. So it's getting processes across different countries is actually much more difficult. That's one of the other inhibitors that what is going to the cloud? What is going to the cloud? I firmly disagree with our friends when they say that the ERPs are going to the cloud. I don't buy that. Cloud. I don't buy that. To me, big systems like SAP, systems invested on SAP, contain mission-critical information, mission-critical always stay. They will always stay at least until I go to retirement, until I go start grazing retirement and start grazing sheep in Kenmare. Those things will stay there. People have made gazillions of money of investment in those systems. They won't. Banks are regulated. Banks are regulated to have information in a secure fashion. They will keep it on secure fashion. I don't think cloud will go there. But if you look at the outer, But if you look at the outer onions, those things are going to the cloud. Those things are going to the cloud. And in some cases, in some very powerful ways. In very powerful ways. So all of this timing that you see. Lower left corner of the slide. Lower left corner of the slide. I see it much slower. That's the exception. That's the exception of mass. That's the exception of mass. Cloud service brokerages. These are intermediaries. They say, I'm going to collect a few cloud services for this particular offer for this particular constituency. I saw a case the other day. For example, for pharmacies in Sweden.
They use the cloud.
Okay.
Most of the applications are in the
cloud.
cloud.
Most of the applications
But there are these little cloud service brokerages.
But there are these little cloud service brokerages. And if you ask me, in a country like this, in a country like this, with a lot of typically is a country with a lot of small and with a lot of good inventive good ideas. Good ideas. There are Irish success stories. There are Irish success stories. There are technology companies that were born and bred good success. And made good success. Good ideas here. Recession breeds innovation. And to me, this is a big opportunity. And I see, in the various incubators, quite a lot of good ideas in the cloud. Quite a lot of good ideas in the cloud service brokerage. It will work because it's not about mass. It's the only thing about cloud. It's about proper service and dedicated service for a smaller user constituency. These are the numbers that we see. These are the numbers that we see. You can see the growth is staggering. You can see the growth is staggering. The growth differentiated depending on the region of the world where we are. And the subcontinent. You can see everything is very, very wet. You can see everything is very, very wet. Keep spending. We're going to keep spending cloud. Interestingly here in Europe, we're developing applications in developing applications in the cloud on the platform as a service, which is the main. Why you see all of that blue on the right side of the picture. I'm not saying, as I said, cloud will happen in Europe, will happen. The EU is supposed, the EU was to promote trade, and interchange of goods, the various members of the EU. I worked for the EU. It was 8 countries when I worked there. It was 8 countries when I worked there. It was a mess already. It's very, very complicated. It's very good intentions. Typically, has very, very good intentions. Let's try to make this easier. But then they end up making it more difficult. But then they end up making it more difficult. Legislate on the directives and makes it different. And that's another of the major inhibitors. I see. Now, I don't want. I know I'm pushed for time, and I didn't want to abuse. We give plenty of recommendations. What they should do with our clients. I don't have to do with cloud. I don't have the time to go straight through them. This is my. Half an hour run, where I think cloud will be. Again, was useful to you. I hope this only a few people left, which is always a good sign. Remember though, whatever you do, whatever job you will go into, it will have something to do with the cloud. It will have something to do with the cloud. You will have to work with difficult sides of the cloud. Because some of the sides are difficult. Typically, some of the sides are difficult. Whenever you want to push corporate data there, and possibly personal data, or because you will be offering cloud services yourself. And even if you go to end-user organizations, there's this thing called the API economy. Big time. I don't have the time to talk about big time. I don't have the time to talk about it. But basically, every company will offer cloud services, can develop mobile applications. So whatever thing you will do, whatever job you will get into, you will have something to do with the cloud. Make sure that you know as much as you can. And make sure that you know what cloud really is. And what cloud really is not. And what cloud really is not. Cloud is about mass. Thank you very much. Cloud is about mass. Thank you very much.